division. It is the first meeting of the year tonight between the Montreal Expos and the Atlanta Braves. Hi, everybody. Pete Van Weren welcoming you to Turner Field in Atlanta. Braves and the Expos meet for the first time in 12 meetings this year. Braves continuing to roll a 2-game sweep of the Colorado Rockies, 3 out of 4 from the Chicago Cubs on this homestand. And Don, for the Montreal Expos, it's another year of kind of
gone to postseason play. That would have cured a lot of ills. They would have gotten a lot of money from postseason play, and I think they would have generated a lot more interest. Baseball as a whole, players and owners, lost about $2 million. But the fallout effect has hit the Expos maybe more than anybody else. They are still trying to recover. And now, if you don't get it done in 6 years as a player with the Expos, there's a chance you'll be playing for somebody else, and that's sad. There are some good people there. You would like to see them be able to compete in this division.
On the other hand, never sell anyone short. There's some hitters in this lineup tonight who have given Brave starter Denny Neagle a lot of trouble. And we'll see how he fares against the Expos as he goes after his 7th win of the year. Back with all the action from Turner Field right after this.
Think an all-purpose beyond the beads. Sun damage, mildew, splitting, and warping.
Fresh Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. This Bud's for you. By the 68,000 professionals at Delta Airlines, who proudly put you on top of the world. And by Olympic. Get everything you need to protect and beautify your deck from Olympic, America's #1 selling exterior stain.
Off in the distance, the Golden Dome of the Capitol here in Atlanta. That's old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. About a mile away from the Dome, it's Turner Field, and it's game 1 of the series against the Expos. Here's the Turtle Wax starting lineup. Santangelo, Grizzolanic, and Guerrero, the first 3, the heart of the order. White, Widger, and Andrews. Perez, McGuire, and Batista will complete Felipe Alou's batting order. Defensively, in the outfield, you're going to find Williams in left, Jones in center, Tucker in right. The infield is familiar. Galarraga, Lockhart, Weiss, and Jones first to third. Lopez behind the plate, and on the mound, a 6-game winner with a .297 earned run average. First 5 starts a little shaky, but Pete, he has done about as well as you can do in the last 5.
And seeking a little revenge on this Montreal ball club. He has a losing record lifetime, 4-6 against the Expos. First pitch to F.P. Santangelo. And we're underway, ball 1. Santangelo back in the lineup for the first time in a week. He injured his left leg and knee in a collision with Rondell White against Houston last Tuesday. Outside corner for a strike, 1-1. He's hitting .250, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs.
That's Jerry Meals calling the balls and strikes. Tata, Davis, and Bell from first to third, the umpiring crew.
1-1 is foul. Back in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. This lineup collectively hitting .280 against Denny Neagle. So even though the names are not the most familiar in the world in this Montreal lineup, they do have some guys who have had some success when they have faced Neagle. And there's a little bloop in the right field. Michael Tucker playing shallow out there for the catch, 1 down. Braves continuing to play with kind of a patched-up lineup. Tucker's still in the lineup in right, but Gerald Williams gets the call in left field tonight. Ryan Klesko's still unable to go with that sore neck. And Curtis Pride injured his right forearm in that collision with Martinez last night, so he's out of the starting lineup, and Williams gets the call in left, but Walt Weiss is back at shortstop. Here's Mark Grizzolanic hitting .246, 5 homers, 11 RBIs, taking ball 1.
For about the next 10 minutes, Michael Tucker is going to hope that the ball is hit somewhere else. He is in a part of the field where the sun filters through between the upper and the middle part of the stands. And anything sliced by a right-hander is going to come right out of that right there.
Yeah, earlier this season, that was bothering the first baseman this time of night. Big swing by Grizzolanic to count 2-1.
Grizzolanic is out of the upper Midwest, and I think if you watch him closely, you can see a lot of Paul Molitor tendencies.
Taking high ball 3. 3-1 the count. He's a .318 lifetime hitter against Neagle. In a bit of a slump right now, just 6 hits in his last 31 at-bats. The Expos just completed a week-long homestand. Kind of disappointing. They were 3-4 on the homestand, and they were hoping to have a good one because this road trip, one of their longest of the year, kicked off tonight in Atlanta. 3 games here, then they go to Pittsburgh for 3, then to Philadelphia for 3, and then to Tampa Bay for 3. It's a 12-game road trip that the Expos are beginning tonight. And they're already 13 games under 500, so they're hoping to show something on the road, and they haven't done that so far this year. They've only won 4 games out of 18 on the road thus far this season. Here's the 3-2 now, and it's hit high and deep down the left field line. After a long run into that corner, Gerald Williams can't come up with it. It's a foul ball. Still 3-2.
Kind of at back can really foul up your defense. They're expecting him to hit the ball to the right side. Well, he went down the right field side with 1 fly ball. Neagle got a changeup in on him there that he was able to pull, and Gerald Williams wondering now if he should slide back over to left center, which he is doing a little bit.
1 man out, just underway. A beautiful night here in Atlanta. Here's the 3-2, and there's another fly ball to left. It's deep but playable for Williams on the crack. 2 down. 2 away. That'll bring up Vladimir Guerrero, who is the latest boy wonder on this Montreal team. Seems like they always have one. Hitting .301 this year. He leads the club with 9 homers, tied for the lead with Shane Andrews.
He looks to me like he's gotten bigger, too, since last year. When we first saw him, he was somewhat of a skinny kid, but he's starting to fill out.
And he takes ball 1 from Denny Neagle. When you were looking at this lineup and the success they had against Denny Neagle in the past, Don, you attributed it to being a lot of good off-speed hitters in this lineup.
Yeah, they hit the ball all over the ballpark. They're very aggressive. And it's almost like they go up there against pitchers, Pete, saying, we're going to sit on something off-speed and try to foul away the fastball. Most hitters say, well, let's set fastball and adjust to the breaking ball. Looks like they do it just the opposite.
On the ground, deep short, long throw for Walt Weiss. Got a good arm, and he gets him. And it's a 1-2-3 start for Denny Neagle. 3 up, 3 down in the top of the first for the Expos.
Now let's see if the Braves bats can come to life, and here's the batting order. Walt Weiss will lead it off. Keith Lockhart back at second. Chipper Jones to hit third. Look at the 300 hitters in this lineup. Galarraga in the cleanup spot. Tucker to follow. Javier Lopez will hit sixth. Then it's Gerald Williams, Andrew Jones, and finally Denny Neagle. The Expos defense. We'll start with Guerrero in right, White in center, Perez in left. The infield has Andrews at third, Grizzolani at short, Santangelo at second, McGuire, good-looking young player at first, Widger behind the plate, and on the mound, it is Miguel Batista. He has fared better as a starter, working 30 innings, averaging 6 innings a start. Not too happy coming out of the bullpen. The league only hitting .254 against him. Overall, a good 3.3 earned run average.
Even though his name is not that familiar, Batista has been around a while. He's not a real young player. 27 years old. He's been a professional ball player since 1988. First in the Expos organization, then he went over to the Florida Marlins organization for a while, then to the Cubs, and he was reacquired by Montreal in the Henry Rodriguez deal. Walt Weiss back in the lineup, hitting .374. He's missed 4 games with that sore right hamstring. And Walt arriving at the ballpark tonight, if he looked at the release from Major League Baseball, found out he is leading the National League in balloting among all-star shortstops.
How about that? Anybody else on the Braves atop the heap?
Chipper Jones leading all third basemen. Keith Lockhart second to Craig Biggio among second basemen.
Good live fastball from Batista. Something you don't see Walt Weiss do very often. He chased one up out of the strike zone. That ball had a little hop right on the end of it.
Only the 13th strikeout for Weiss this year at 132 at bats. 1 gone. Here is Keith Lockhart. Snapped out of his slump with a 4-hit night last night, hitting .301 again for the year.
Who's the top vote getter at this point, Pete, overall?
It is Craig Biggio in the National League. Mike Piazza is second. And Mark McGuire, surprisingly, is third. I thought he would be a runaway leader.
So did I.
In fact, McGuire not all that far ahead of Jeff Bagwell in the Voting at first base, Andres Galarraga ranks third. It's early. Not that many ballots have been cast yet.
And this year is in
Denver.
Coors Field.
Yeah, Coors Field. I don't think we'll see a 2-to-1 contest this year. 0-2 on Lockhart. And as you saw on that graphic, this is one of the things Keith Lockhart does best.
Well, he fouls away pitchers' pitches. There's what you were talking about. He's almost twice as good as everybody else in the National. He fouls away pitchers' pitches, and it means that a pitcher has to make 3, 4, sometimes 5 out pitches, and sooner or later you're going to get one that he can handle.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Lockhart. Batista, out of the Dominican Republic, now lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Two balls, 2 strikes coming into this year. His only major league experience had been 9 relief appearances with Florida back in '96 with no record, and an 0-5 record with the Cubs last year.
Looks like that's the fastball he wants you to swing at. Slider and a changeup to go with that fastball, but it seems to have more life above the belt.
Full count now, 3-2 on Lockhart. Giving it a look is Widger, but this one I think is going to make it into the seats. It does. And it remains 3 balls, 2 strikes. Widger wearing one of those Charlie O'Brien designed masks.
Roger Ramjet.
One gone, no score here in the bottom of the first. And again, the 3-2 pitch to Lockhart is popped up shallow left. Grizzolanic going back. Perez coming in. It's going to be Grizzolanic staying with it, maybe hearing some footsteps behind him. He got a little timid as Perez approached him, but he stayed with it for out number 2.
He had the look of a guy that was thinking, I know you're there, and I'm waiting for you to call, and are you going to call me off? Will you please call me off? But you're not, so I better make the catch. See, he's got a bead on it there. Perez could have made this a lot easier than Grizzolanic. It's always an easier catch for the outfielder coming toward the ball.
2 gone. Now Chipper Jones batting .342 with 14 home runs and 42 RBIs. 1 ball, no strikes, and Chipper sits safely in 8 of his last 9.
Now, Batista throws a kind of fastball that Chipper Jones has been drilling to left center field.
There's a base hit to left center field. He has got that stroke patented.
Especially if you throw like a hopping fastball, a riding fastball out away from him. He is not going to try to pull it. That little tap dance step with the front foot. Watch how he goes into the ball. Hands stay back, and the force of the bat is pushing that ball right at the shortstop.
First base runner of the night belongs to Atlanta. 2-out single by Chipper Jones. Here's Andres Galarraga batting .318. Leads the club with 17 home runs. And takes ball 1 from Batista.
On the other hand, I don't know what their scouting reports have said, but his fastball is the kind of fastball that through the year thus far has given Andres Galarraga trouble. I'm surprised to see him start him with a breaking ball.
High and deep to left center field. This one's going to be way out of here. A long 2-run homer for Andres Galarraga. It's 2-0 Atlanta.
Well, I don't know who did their scouting reports, but he's not doing this young pitcher any favors if they've been telling him to throw Galarraga breaking balls for strikes. Back-to-back breaking balls. You throw him one belt high down the middle or knee high down the middle. I can't remember the last time he missed one. Slider, knee high, and gone.
Home run number 18, RBIs number 45 and 46 for Galarraga.
See, Andres Galarraga didn't even have to think or worry about catching up to a fastball. A middle speed pitch, back-to-back.
So the Braves get the early jump here in the bottom of the first. Now Michael Tucker, he's over 300, 308. with 9 home runs. He takes low, ball 1. That home run is number 76 of the season for Atlanta. This is their 52nd game. One ball, 1 strike on Tucker. Braves lead the National League in homers. The Cardinals are next with 70, and there won't be any Mark McGwire watch tonight. The Cardinals are off.
Andres Galarraga, home run number 3 for the homestand.
2-1 the count on Michael Tucker. Grounded slowly toward first. McGwire has it. He'll take it himself. And that'll do it for Atlanta in the bottom half of the first inning, but a mistake did not get past Andres Galarraga. 2-0 Braves as we head to the second.
Is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
2-0 Braves on the Andres Galarraga home run in the first inning. Rondell White to lead off the second, batting .249. He has 5 home runs. He'll be followed by Chris Widger and then Shane Andrews against Denny Neagle. Seems strange to be seeing Montreal for the first time. It's almost the end of May. Usually the Braves, with all those years they trained together with the Expos in West Palm Beach, would have seen them 8, 9, 10 times down there. In fact, this is the first time I can recall the Braves having such a lengthy meeting prior to an Expo series, going over all their players, all their new players.
Yeah, usually they see them heading to the backfield February 17th.
1-1 on the way, and White drills at the left field. Might have broken his bat on that one. Williams there for the catch. 1 gone.
We kind of watched Rondell White grow up, haven't we? When we first see him, 92, 93 down in...
Whenever he came to that first spring training camp for the Expos. 1 gone. Now Chris Widger, who's had a pretty good offensive year. .273, has 5 homers. He's driven in 17 runs.
And just earlier signed himself a nice new long-term contract with the Expos.
The Expos management is claiming that this is the last year of the cut rate policy on their overall salaries. They have cut to the bare bones the last 2 or 3 years to try to get this team turned around financially. They say the end is in sight for that, and they are basing a lot of the hopes for their future on a new ballpark, which they have not yet got final approval on up in Montreal. But if they get it, they feel that they'll be able to start spending more. And they're looking to 3 or 4 or 5 years down the line being able to spend right up there in the 40-50 million bracket, which most of the clubs spend nowadays.
And 3 and 4 to 5 years, they're going to have a very large collection of young talent. They had 9 of the first 60-something draft picks last year. They have 6 or 7 this year, so they have drafted a lot of very talented young players.
And they've proven to be very, very good at doing that.
Very good at developing young players. And very good at signing all their high draft picks, too. I mean, they haven't had a J.D. Drew encounter in recent years. It seems like they always get their man and give them that first year of experience right away.
They're going to appeal. The first didn't go, says Terry Taylor. The count even on Chris Widger. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, you can umpire on this one. And I believe the right call was made.
Into shallow center field. That's going to drop for a base hit, and there's the first base runner of the game against Denny Neagle as Widger singles up the middle.
There's one of those hitters we were talking about earlier, Pete. That's a pitcher's pitch. Good off-speed pitch, down and away. But they're not trying to hit the ball 500 feet. Watch Widger come toward the plate, lean out over the plate, and just get enough of the bat on it to get it in the center field. That probably wasn't even a strike.
Here's a guy the Expos have been waiting a while on. Shane Andrews, off to another slow start. The home runs are there with 9 and the RBIs 17, but only a .212 batting average. This is his 4th year with the Expos. High in the air to center field and deep. Andrew Jones going back on the warning track at the wall. He's got it. Widger will return to first. 2 men gone. gave it a ride, but to the deepest part of the ballpark. And now one of the Expo newcomers, Robert Perez, who they got from Seattle in a trade for a minor league catcher. And he's off to a good start with Montreal. He's 8 out of 18 with a homer.
Built a lot like Raul Mondesi, a strong upper body.
He's been with Toronto for the last 4 years prior to this season. He's one of those players, Don, you just don't know what you're going to get. Back in 1995, he hit 188. 1996, he hit 327. Last year, 192, which is the real Robert Perez at the major league level. He's a native of Venezuela. In a right, that's going to fall for a base hit. Widger will take the turn at second. Hold on there as Tucker quickly fires back. And almost a slip by Chris Widger getting back to the bag at second, which would have proved costly had he not recovered.
Another good piece of hitting. Line drive to right field. Keep an eye on Widger as he rounds the bag, turns and looks to go back, and the throw is right over his head. I'm not sure if he slipped or if he was ducking to get out of the way of the throw. Almost cost him an out.
Now Ryan McGuire, the first baseman, 286 on the year with a homer, 7 RBIs. One of those good young players Don was talking about, 26 years old now.
I believe they got him in the trade with the Red Sox, didn't they?
I believe it was the Red Sox, yes, after the 95 season.
Got his first career hit when we saw him last year up in Montreal, I think it was, off of Denny Neagle.
Off of Denny Neagle, right. 1 ball, 1 strike, and McGuire. He's out of UCLA.
Woodland Hills, California. Used to trick-or-treat in the neighborhood.
He came over as a part of the Will Cordero trade. Two balls, 1 strike the count on Ryan McGuire. 2 men out, runners first and second. Braves up 2-0. Perez and Widger, the runners. Two and two.
Hasn't had that many at-bats against left-handers, Pete, but he's already making an impression in 12 at-bats, hitting over 400. About 130 points higher than against right-handers.
Here's the 2-2 on the way, and it just missed. Full count now, 3-2 on Ryan McGuire. The pitcher, Miguel Batista, on deck.
He's like a lot of left-handers that we talk about who will never get much notoriety because he's a line drive hitter. It seems like in order to be talked about as a first baseman, you have to hit 30 home runs. Well, he's a Mark Grace, Hal Morris type guy who can line it over short, line it over second.
Runners going, and the breaking ball missed, and the bases are loaded.
Boy, did he lay off of a good pitch. Pitcher coming up behind you, you can pretty much know you're not going to get anything to hit, but I wonder where that crossed the plate. Good pitch from Denny Neagle, and a good job of hitting by Ryan McGuire.
So the base is full now with 2 outs for the pitcher, Miguel Batista, who was 0 for 13 on the year. And he's down in the count 0-1. He had some cut, though.
He gets 9-8 on style points. A right-handed Sadaharu Oh. Remember the Japanese hitter who used to pick that front leg up before he hit?
0-2 on Miguel Batista.
Looks like he takes every swing right in the same plane, so you almost got to hit his bat.
And he's down on 3 pitches. First strikeout of the game for Neagle. The Expos leave him loaded in the top half of the second.
if there were 2, 4, 6, 7 Braves hitting over 300, would you believe me? I hope not, because there's 6. One is 1 point under 300, and that's the subject of our Wendy's Honey Ham and Chicken Sandwich leaderboard. Braves batting average, there is some heavy artillery in the lineup this year, and one that those of us who are around the Braves, we're all, obviously you're pleased with everybody doing well. I couldn't be happier for Eddie Perez.
And with all those 300 batting averages, the Braves have now moved to the top of the league offensively, hitting .285 as a team coming in. That's 2 points higher than Colorado.
And there is Eddie Perez.
So you've got the Braves now first in the league in hitting, second in the league in pitching, and first in the league in defense. And you add those all up, and that's why the Braves have put together a 37-14 record.
And with the defense and the pitching, they go hand in hand. That means that you don't have to worry so much about that other category, because you're not going to have to score a whole lot to win. That's just one of those, when one is doing the job well, the other relaxes and does his job better.
Javi Lopez, Gerald Williams, Andrew Jones do up against Miguel Batista here in the second. Lopez over 300, 304, 11 home runs. And takes a strike on 1.
Javi Lopez has told us he's a guest hitter. After seeing that breaking ball in the first pitch, let's see if he guesses for another one.
Got a fastball up and in, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You give him a breaking ball on the first pitch for a strike, somewhere in that at bat, Javi Lopez will look for it again.
2-1.
Probably right here. Had a good time against Cubs pitching.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Lopez. And he fouls back the fastball. It's 2-2 still. Braves got 2 in the first on the Andres Galarraga home run, his 18th of the year.
Talked earlier about, Pete, about how the Expos seem to develop good young players. Have you ever noticed or thought about how many in the last 6 years seem to be young, hard-throwing pitchers?
Yeah, they've done a good job. We get so caught up sometimes with all the offense. First a ground ball at third, Andrews across the first in time. When you start talking about all the offensive players that the Expos have developed, one of them playing in a Braves uniform right now, and Andres Galarraga and Larry Walker and all the other players around the league that are playing in different uniforms now, a lot of them, Moises Alou. You do forget a little bit about some of the great pitching talent that they have developed. There's a guy that pitched for many years with Montreal, although he was originally an Oriole. An excuse me swing by Gerald Williams. Shane Andrews can't come up with it, and this has been a problem for the Montreal Expos. We told you how the Braves were #1 in the league defensively. Montreal is next to last in the league defensively. Only the Cincinnati Reds have committed more errors than Montreal this year. They're going to give Gerald Williams a base hit on this one.
It would have been a kind of an out that a pitcher loves, but Andrews, a long way away from third, would have caught that ball going towards second. I really don't see how he would have been able to turn and throw out Gerald Williams.
Third hit of the game for Atlanta, and it'll bring up Andrew Jones. But as we were talking about how good defense goes hand in hand with good pitching, when your defense is having trouble making plays, as the Expos have this year, 47 errors made in 49 games. That's almost an error a night. There goes the runner, got a good jump, and that's going to get by Grizzolanic into left field. Base hit. Gerald Williams heads for third. Here comes the throw there, right into the runner. In fact, it may have hit Williams and rolls away from Andrews. And they're at first and third.
You can't draw up a hit and run any better than this. Andrew Jones got a breaking ball to handle, reached out, pulled it through the hole. The shortstop was heading over to cover. That was a great piece of hit and run. Pretty good arm in the left field by Mr. Perez, too. Here's Williams right there hitting the bag. Started to slide. That step may have been what made this play close at third.
Fourth hit off of Batista brings up Denny Neagle, a 107 hitter. He's 3 for 28. Let's see if the Braves have him bunting here. First and third, one out. You see the defensive alignment for the Expos in the infield.
You'll see Shane Andrews come in and Williams come in about the same way. Andrews will fake like he's going to go back, so this is a straight sacrifice.
Ryan McGuire looks toward third to make sure that Gerald Williams was going nowhere. And it'll go as a 3-4 sacrifice for Neagle.
Watch the third baseman come in, then fakes back. Gerald Williams goes the same distance as the third baseman. When the bunt is bunted hard, Williams goes as far as the third baseman would go, but knows at that point he has no chance of making it to the plate, goes back, and the sacrifice does what you hoped it would do. Let's get a second man in the scoring position.
Now back to the top of the order, Walt Weiss, who struck out on 3 pitches for maybe the first time all year. He's struck out before, but I don't know as though he has gone down on 3 straight pitches, especially leading off a ball game for the Braves. Takes the first one low from Batista, ball 1. 2 runs, 4 hits for Atlanta. No runs, 2 hits for Montreal. Second and third now with 2 down. He has not had good swings at Batista.
Something about his delivery or his pitches. Walt Weiss, you watch him come to bat, and it looks like he sees the ball as big as a basketball. This is the first time this year we've seen him confused by delivery or by the pitches.
Williams and Jones, your runners, with 2 outs. 1-1. Toward short, right at the shortstop. Grizzolani did a good job there because he was partially screened by Andrew Jones. But he stayed with it. Batista is out of the inning. Braves strand 2. It's still 2-0.
A lot of folks in Johnson comes to getting the right part, the right price.
2-0 Atlanta as we go to the top half of the third inning. Braves about hit the Expos 4-2. And F.P. Santangelo will lead off here in the third. Don, he's going to be involved in something I'm not so sure I've never heard of before. On June 8th, the Montreal Expos have an exhibition game with their AAA affiliate up in Ottawa. Santangelo played for all or parts of 3 seasons with Ottawa in the International League.
And quite well.
And they're going to retire his number at the AAA level. He wore number 24 with the Ottawa Lynx, and they're going to retire his number June 8th. First time I've ever heard of a AAA team retiring a number. I'm sure there are others, but you don't hear much about it. Strike at the knee, 0-1.
Obviously, he left an impression there with the way that he played, probably more than just his on-the-field activities. I see a lot of minor league players who become a part of a community, especially when they go back there a second and a third time.
High chop, deep short, long throw by Walt Weiss. 1 hop at the Galarraga, not in time. Santangelo beats it out.
And whether F.P. Santangelo were in Little League, Pony League, Class A, AAA, or the big leagues, this is indicative of how he plays. A tough play for Weiss, but a lot of hustle there for F.P. Santangelo. Watch him come out of the batter's box, takes 1 peek, and then head down and goes just as hard as he can and gets that base hit by a half a step.
Third hit off of Neagle. Now Mark Grizzolani, who flies to left his first time up. A ball and no strikes on the Expo shortstop. 2 more games in this series. Greg Maddux against Javier Vasquez tomorrow night. Dennis Martinez against Carl Pavano on Thursday night. And then the Braves begin a 10-day, 9-game road trip. Back up at Wrigley Field. Look out. Everybody seems to be okay. Good catch.
Philippe Alou doesn't consider down 2-0 a time to back off and play very conservative. We've seen him a number of times play hit and run down more than 2-0.
Well, you know this club is going to be a well-taught and fundamentally sound ball club. That's been a trademark of Philippe Alou ball clubs.
He is a very patient, very good manager.
One ball, 2 strikes, and Grizzolani. Even when we told you about this club making all the errors they have made, Philippe Alou will tell you he'd rather see a team play aggressively and make errors than lay back on defense. That's the only way you can really find out much about a player.
And he looks for things other than just what's the batting average, how many homers, how many strikeouts. Remember, he's the guy that gave Mike Lansing a chance when nobody wanted him.
Yes, and he saw that down in the Florida State League.
On a bad ball club.
Nobody out. Santangelo at first.
When you talk to people around baseball, a number of them are surprised that he doesn't go someplace else. You know he's had to have had ample opportunities.
You would think so with the success he's had. And always seeming to get the Montreal Expos to win a few more games each year than they were expected to. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Out of play, right side. And although he's had clubs like this one the last 3 or 4 years, he did have that club in '94 way out in front of the Braves and headed toward postseason play when the strike came along. So you know he can take a good team and win with them. Climbing up the all-time Expo list. In fact, he should pass Buck Rogers this year. On the ground toward second, Lockhart, Weiss, Galarraga. 4-6-3 double play.
Walt Weiss does a good job of turning a double play. Nice chest high toss by Lockhart. Watch Weiss glove the ball, then go glove to hand, hit the bag with his right foot, get out of the way. A lot of infielders will have the hand and the glove together as they take it, but he is so smooth catching it and in one motion transferring to the hand. Little tap dance around the bag. He's a tough target to hit when you're sliding in the second.
Now Vladimir Guerrero grounded out to short his first time up.
That's the 8th double play ground ball that Denny Neagle has thrown up there, in spite of being a guy that throws up, what, about half his outs from fly ball?
Yeah, he gets a lot of fly ball outs. Guerrero way out in front of the change. 1 ball, 1 strike. Guerrero won 2 minor league batting titles. Class A ball at Albany in 1995, 333. Class AA ball at Harrisburg, 1996 at 360. He is only 22 years old.
What was his strikeout total last year?
Last year, he struck out just 39 times in 325 at-bats.
So he already understands the strike zone and has good plate coverage. That's a step further than most young hitters.
Right off the fist, left side of the infield, Chipper Jones for the grab. And that's all for the Expos in the third. Still 2-0 Atlanta.
Every week on the Super Boss, and there's no ring, no ref, and no rules.
Scoreboard for the first time, courtesy of your friends at Office Depot. Melvin Nieves' home run, a difference in the ballgame for Cincinnati. Florida got 4 in the first. A Ryan Jackson grand slam homer. L.A. and Houston just underway. Pittsburgh at Milwaukee also just underway. San Diego at Arizona a little bit later on. McCracken, Sorrento, and Cairo all homered for Tampa Bay. Baltimore got 5 in the third off Facero. They're leading Seattle. Toronto 4 in the first off Steve Avery. Cleveland scoring at will against Detroit. And New York at Chicago just underway. And you're up to date on the Office Depot scoreboard.
And as we go to the bottom half of the third, Keith Lockhart to lead things off. Chipper Jones, Andres Galarraga will follow against Miguel Batista, who is down 2-0 in the game after the Galarraga first inning homer. Lockhart popped to short his first time up and takes ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lockhart.
Well, he's got that fastball right at the top of the strike zone, doesn't he?
Got it there all night long.
And it's a fastball that you can't drive. It's got a little hop on it, a little late movement. Hitting right on top of the bat.
He's thrown that pitch to everybody except Andres Galarraga.
The one guy who has trouble with it. Be interesting to see how he pitches Galarraga this time, Bert.
Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Lockhart. On the ground, that's a fair ball. Nice play by McGuire. Let's see if Batista gets there in time. That was close. But he got him by a half a step.
I think Batista timed it getting over there so he could take the throw right at the bag. But that was a heck of a play by McGuire. It would have been easier for a right-handed throwing first baseman. McGuire had to cross all the way across his body, waited, chest-high throw. Here's Batista. He's starting very slowly, under control right there. I'll bet you he thought that was a double when it was hit. That's a nice play by Ryan McGuire.
Chipper Jones singled to left center his first time up, scored on the Galarraga home run.
By the way, Pete, when we go to Montreal in June, I understand we're going to a topless stadium.
Yes, they have taken the roof off.
Yeah, the roof's off.
Olympic Stadium.
Guess I should have phrased that a little differently.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes on Chipper. Yeah, they had so much trouble with that roof, and they had some more leaks in it again this year, so they decided to tear the whole thing out. And they say they're going to put a new one on there, but I'll bet you if they vote on a new ballpark up there and get construction started there, it'll be a long time down the road before we see a new roof on Olympic Stadium.
Well, it was a retractable roof originally on cables that didn't work, so it became permanent, and now it's permanently off.
Here's the 2-1. That means those lovely shadows will be back there at Olympic Stadium.
That's hard on everybody, including us. It's almost impossible to follow the ball if you're not right down on the field.
3-1 the count now on Chipper Jones. And he walked him. That's the first walk given up by Batista. Now as Galarraga will step in. He had that 2-run homer on a breaking ball in the first inning. Came on a 1-0 pitch.
First pitch slider down and away. Second pitch slider down the middle and way away.
18 home runs now for Galarraga. See how Batista pitches him here.
Most veteran pitchers will tell you that the fastball is the best pitch, and sooner or later you're going to have to establish it.
No balls, 1 strike.
Interesting watching him. The 2 guys in the lineup, you could crowd Chipper Jones in above the belt. He's been trying to pitch him down. And everybody who's had success against Andres Galarraga has pitched him above the belt, and everything has been down to him.
Right at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. Every time one of these Expos starting pitchers goes out there, they're more or less pitching for their spot in the rotation. They've used 8 different starting pitchers so far this year. They just called up another one. We'll see him on Thursday night, Carl Pavano. With the exception of Carlos Perez, who is a permanent member of the rotation, obviously. He's been one for a couple of years. Everything else pretty much wide open. You're going to stay in there as long as you're going good. Dustin Hermanson's on the disabled list right now. He'll be back in the rotation when he gets back. He's a permanent member of the cast.
He has good stuff, too.
But the other 3 spots had a lot of different faces in there. Every time you're out there as a starting pitcher, it's almost like an audition. See if you can stay there and make it one more start.
Wonder how many in a row you have to have good before you're out there permanently. Philippe Alou calling pitch out, throw over, step off. Sign goes to the catcher and then out to the pitcher.
they're going to call that a fair ball. No, he's going to be overruled by Wally Bell at third. Plate umpire Jerry Meals unable to see that ball come off the foot or leg of Galarraga, but Wally Bell saw it.
See how he's tying Galarraga up with this fastball in on his hands, and the one out away from him was foul straight back. So that means he's hitting that pitch with the bat back. So if you throw him a breaking ball now, the bat is going to travel 3 or 4 inches on the slower speed. So it's going to be right in the hitting area. So you speed a bat up when you take something off the pitch. So here, if he's going to throw a breaking ball, it should be out of the strike zone trying to get him to chase.
Just like that. Second strikeout for Batista.
A perfect 2-strike pitch. We were talking the other day about Kevin Millwood throwing that pitch. Starts out a strike, it doesn't finish one. Good pitch.
2 gone here in the third.
Follow one. Come on, Michael.
And that'll bring up Michael Tucker. He grounded out to first his first time up. Yeah, the Expos right now, the land of opportunity. If you're a young player, you're going to get a chance if you show anything in the minor leagues. Chances are you're going to be wearing that big league uniform a lot quicker than you might be in some other organizations. And the Expos hoping to get to a point down the road where they'll be able to keep players beyond their free agent year. It's been the pattern the last 4 or 5 years. A player gets to be a free agent or 1 year away from it. And the Expos try to deal him for some young prospects that they can keep around for a while.
Or if he hammers them in arbitration, he might get 1 year out of it in the next year.
And it's not a story that's going on just in Montreal. It went on in Pittsburgh prior to that. San Diego had it happen. San Diego's back in contention now with a higher payroll and a better ball club. Florida is tearing down, trying to get that payroll down so they can start over.
Well,
it's never pleasant for the fans.
No
question about that, but it happens.
Puts a great responsibility on your director of scouting and your minor league system, because you have to make the only advantage to finishing down in the standings is you get to draft higher, but you have to make good choices and you have to develop them quickly.
Left center field, Perez and White converging. And Perez stays with it, making the catch for out number 3. So Batista beginning to settle down. Gave up 2 runs and 2 hits in the first, no runs and 2 hits in the second, no runs, no hits in the third.
Pride of Colorado, Phil Simmons' nightly Aflac trivia question, and here's his gem for the night. Who was the first baseman that broke Keith Hernandez's streak of 11 straight Gold Glove awards? You ponder on that for a half inning or so, and when we come back, we'll tell you who it is.
And we're going to the 4th inning. Braves up 2-0. It'll be Rondell White, Chris Widger, and Shane Andrews. Beginning with Rondell White, who finds the left his first time up.
I've noticed that more often than not, when Phil gets shirts from the folks at Aflac, the questions are so much better.
They're tougher this year. He's been some good ones up there.
He's got a better wardrobe, too.
1 ball, no strikes.
Those good Aflac shirts. Keep them coming. He's challenging the folks.
White, 28 home runs, 82 RBIs last year. Takes a changeup.
What do they call them? 5-point players or guys who
5-tool players.
5-tool players. You can put him in that category. Speed, power, average, arm, and can play some defense. And he's a pretty intelligent player if you watch him too.
And still only 26 years old. He's from Gray, Georgia, right down the road from Atlanta.
Fancied himself as a pretty good basketball player until Michael Jordan came down and did an exhibition at his school and invited him to play one-on-one. And I believe that made up his mind that baseball was a real good game.
There's the 2-2. Down the left field line. That's going to drop in for at least one. Gerald Williams over quickly. He'll hold Rondell White to a single. That's the fourth. Now the ball gets 5, but backed up by Galarraga.
There's a great example of there is no reason to stand around doing nothing during a ball game. There's always a spot you can be to help your team out. Good hitting here. He gets up on top of the ball, drags the hands through, and rolls it over to hit it in the left field. Williams over hustling, trying to get it in quickly, a little off the mark. It goes by 1, 2, but not Galarraga.
Fourth hit allowed by Neagle. It brings up Chris Widger. He had the first one, a single back in the second. And takes a strike, 0-1. We were talking about young players getting an opportunity here with this Montreal ball club. Here's one of them right here. And Chris Widger. He came over from Seattle in the trade for Jeff Cicero. And one by one, Montreal catchers began going elsewhere. Last year, Darren Fletcher departed. And all of a sudden, the Expos said, well, we can't keep losing these young catchers. We got to get ourselves one of them and keep him for a while. So they signed Widger to a nice contract. He's a major league regular. 0-2 the count. Out of George Mason University. With a Canadian sports background, his uncle was a pro football player in the Canadian Football League, both the Montreal Alouettes and the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Wide receiver? Doesn't say, does it?
Doesn't say, but it does tell us what his hobby is, and it is the most unusual hobby I think I've ever seen in a baseball player's biography, or anyone's for that matter. Ball 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chris Widger's hobby is rollerblading with his Great Dane.
Now, is the Great Dane on rollerblades, too?
I don't know.
Rollerblade.
1-2 on Widger. Foul back, still a ball with 2 strikes.
Did you ever roller skate?
Did I ever roller skate?
Yeah.
Or roller blade? I've never roller bladed. I roller skated.
Did you do it with ease? Did it come easy for you?
I've never done anything with ease. No, I wasn't much of a skater. Should have seen me on ice. I mean literally on ice, where I spent most of the time. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Chris Widger.
I got talked into trying roller skating once. And, you know, there's an age when you're 10, 12, 13 where you feel like you can do anything you want to the first time. I got 1 foot out in front, and the next thing I know, I was sitting on the seat of my pants, and before getting up, I took those darn things off and never put on another pair.
See, if he had a Great Dane with you, he would have picked you up. You would have kept going.
Yeah.
That's the
first.
That's the purpose of having that Great Dane alongside you.
No, all that does is you just can't quit.
Still 1-2 on Chris Widger.
Nobody laughs at you, and you can't quit. Great Dane's like a small horse.
Sharply hit Chipper Jones. Nice play. The second one. Lockhart trying to turn it, and does. 5-4-3. Second double play of the night hit into by the Expos.
That's about as long a double play as you can turn because Chipper Jones was near the line, but Widger hit it so hard. It gave him a little bit of time to unload. Perfect chest-high throw. Lockhart there on the bag, able to unload, go up in the air before the sliding White got down next to it. Nice turn by Keith Lockhart.
2 outs, base is empty now for Shane Andrews. Fly to deep center his first time up.
Every now and then, Keith Lockhart looks like he gets caught at second trying to figure whether to step back or step forward. But that time he had time to get to the bag, set himself, so he had a couple of ways to go.
Another shot down the line and left. This one is headed toward the corner. Shane Andrews on his way to second. Here comes the throw in by Gerald Williams. And That's the 5th hit of the night for Montreal. The double plays have really helped Neagle out here these last couple of innings.
And getting back to a point we made early, how many of these hits have come on off-speed pitches? That looked like a changeup. He wanted down and away, but it's down and down the middle. Crossed up the defense. Gerald Williams was way over in left center field.
That's the first extra base hit for the Expos tonight. 6 doubles on the year now for Andrews, and the batter Robert Perez. He's singled his first time up. Ball 1 the count. Robert Perez. Ball 1 strike. He's from Venezuela. Have you ever noticed how many of the players from Venezuela, besides baseball in high school, played volleyball? That must be a very big sport down there. A lot of baseball, volleyball players.
Good sport for conditioning and dexterity.
Here's the 1-1. In the air to right field. Better location on that pitch. Michael Tucker there for the catch. 2 more Montreal hits, but still no runs as we head to the bottom of the 4th.
We're doing it well. You.
Like trivia question, who's the first baseman who halted Keith Hernandez's streak of 11 straight Gold Gloves? He is in the stadium tonight. He's in the lineup tonight. He's in the dugout right now. It was Andres Galarraga back in 1989. At that time, he was wearing the uniform of these Montreal Expos. Good question, Phil.
2-0 Atlanta on top. We're going to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Javi Lopez, Gerald Williams, Andrew Jones due up against Batista. Javi grounded out to third, his first time up.
Through him, mostly breaking balls, and to this point, Miguel Batista has not shown a changeup.
Breaking ball is popped up back toward the screen. Widger will not have a play. It's back into the camera well. Right behind home plate. 0-1. Yeah, you look at a guy like Batista. He's got a good arm, and you can understand why he's bounced back and forth between the bullpen and starting so often. Most starting pitchers have another pitch.
Right. Bullpen, whatever your most effective pitch is, you throw that about 80% of the time.
0-2 now on Javi Lopez. He was a starting pitcher throughout most of his minor league career up until 1995. Then he moved to the bullpen. And that was when he was in the Florida Marlins organization for the first time.
No question about his arm. He's got a good one. Nice pitch.
Inside corner.
That's 3 perfect pitches.
3rd strikeout. Lopez caught looking.
Breaking ball inside, breaking ball outside, and a little cut fastball that he throws right over the inside corner. See, everything he throws has movement, though. He doesn't throw a single thing that's straight.
Here's Gerald Williams in an infield hit, his first time up. In the lineup in left field tonight, Ryan Flesko missing his 2nd straight night with a sore neck. 0-1 on Williams. And as most guys have done when they've been asked to fill in for a Braves regular, Williams has contributed on this homestand and in this game. Base hit his first time up. He had that home run, a 3-run homer to break the tie against the Cubs the other night.
A couple of good defensive plays.
0-2.
Been a good addition to this ball club coming from Milwaukee for Chad Fox.
And he's down on strikes. That is 6 straight strikes delivered by Batista here in the 4th inning. He has now struck out 4 in the game. And the batter will be Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones, after his first 40 at-bats this year, was hitting 100. He was 4 for 40. He is now up to 253, hitting right around 300 since that slow start.
Great hit and run last time up, too. Adjusted on the breaking ball, pulled it through the hole.
Batista, 7 pitches, 7 strikes.
And a nasty little slider that can't be breaking more than 3 or 4 inches. But he's throwing it almost as hard as his fastball and putting it in good spots.
One hop to short. Nice play by Grizzlonic on a bad hop. And he throws out Andrew Jones. A 1-2-3 inning. Batista's getting better as the game goes along. It's still 2-0 Atlanta.
Dilbert for office. Got a few minutes to spare? New Turtle Wax
Baseball on the Superstation is brought to you by Office Depot. Business is crazy, but Office Depot makes sense. And by Turtle Wax, the leader in car appearance products.
Very pretty night here in Atlanta. Very comfortable night. And the Braves out in front 2-0 as we go to the top half of the 5th inning, and Ryan McGuire will lead off. He walked in the 2nd, the only walk issued by Neagle. Nagle's been flirting with trouble the last 3 innings. He had the bases loaded in the 2nd, got out of it. Gave up a leadoff hit in the 3rd, had a double play to get out of it. Gave up a single and a double in the 4th, had a double play in that inning.
As Batista has gotten more comfortable, it seems like Denny Neagle has gotten more uncomfortable.
2 runs, 4 hits for Atlanta. No runs, 5 hits for the Expos. Ground ball to 2nd, right at Lockhart. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 5th.
Friendly little wager, Pete. First pitch, I'll bet if he throws it, Batista will swing.
The swing will be about letter high.
And it will cover some of the plate.
He is now 0 for 14 on the year. I'll be.
He was guessing ball.
0-1 the count.
A nice tape job on his bat.
I'll tell you what, where he starts that bat, he's got a ways to go just to get it started. He's got that bat almost wrapped around his head. 0-2 the count. Watch where this bat goes. That's a Gary Sheffield.
It's a Gary Sheffield wannabe.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Got that little pigeon-toed stance. I mean, he's into it. Got a piece of 1. That's progress. 1-2.
It's a Gary Sheffield stance and a Gary Shandling swing.
Well, he's worked the count even now, 2-2. Strike 3 called. Second strikeout of the night for Neagle. And back to the top of the order now, and F.P. Santangelo. He's fly to right and singled.
Usually a guy who is hitting 0 will come back into the dugout after a pitch like that and ask, did that look inside to you? Oh, it looked inside.
Like that guy in the first tee when he duck hooks that first one out there, and that didn't go out of bounds, did it? Yes, it did. 1-0 pitch. 2-0 the count in Santangelo.
Here's a guy that I am really surprised a lot of ball clubs haven't tried to pry away from them. He is your perfect 5th infielder.
He can play anywhere.
Play anywhere you want him to. He'll get there on time, throw batting practice if you want, and almost always put the ball in play.
Put that one in play and kind of fooled Andrew Jones, who got a late jump. One of the few times we've seen Andrew do that. But that ball must have sounded like it was hit harder than it was. Andrew gave it a good effort trying to recover, but came up short, and Santangelo has his 2nd hit of the night.
It's a check swing, and it may have come off in a trajectory that fooled Andrew Jones. See, it's not a real high trajectory. and it looked like it may have been spinning away from him. So with the check swing and with that trajectory, he thought it was going to carry a little bit further than it did.
Still a pretty good play by Andrew, keeping it from getting past him. Runner at first with 2 outs now for Grizzleanic. Down the right side, 0-1. Speaking of questions, we were just reminded of one on the board here at Turner Field. One of the great questions ever asked after Don Larson pitched that perfect game in the World Series. The reporter came up to him and said,
"Is that the best game you've ever pitched in your life?"
Right side, Galarraga has it. It's quicker to go that way for out number 3. And this is not the best game Denny Neagle has ever pitched in his life, but he still has a 2-0 lead.
Guaranteed low prices at the Home Depot mean that
We go to the bottom half of the 5th inning, and Denny Neagle will lead things off for Atlanta. Joe Simpson, Skip Carey with you now. Neagle a little sick tonight, and he shows it, but he's getting them out.
It's almost like he's on cruise control, just trying to go through the innings as fast as he can, get the ball back from the catcher, make another pitch. His defense has been outstanding, with a couple of double plays turned behind him and a couple of terrific plays in left field by Gerald Williams, too, to save some extra base hits. But all in all, a gutsy performance so far by Denny.
And he'll lead off here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Braves on top 2-0 if you just joined us. Andres Galarraga, a line drive 2-run homer in the first after a Chipper Jones single. Bautista goes to work right off his foot. He really needed that. 0-1 the count. Here comes Jeff Porter. He's fighting the flu, and now this.
Right off the ankle.
Boy, that hurts. That hurts to see. So you can imagine what it's like when it happens to you.
Down and in. A direct shot. That's in a tough spot, too, where if it does start swelling up, can really lock up the joint, too.
Do they still call that stuff ethyl chloride that they spray on the...
I believe so. Like Bubba's got a little leak in his applicator there.
Yeah, it could be. 2-4-0 for Atlanta. 0-6-0 for Montreal here. And Denny's going to stay in there. Oh, and 1 the count. You never cease to amaze me. 0-2 now. What were you asking me before about Felipe Alou and his brothers?
I know about Matty and Jesus. I wasn't sure if there was another brother. Did they have a brother named Bob?
Bob Alou? No, I don't think so. 1-2 the count.
Well, the other 3 could play.
Boy, that sure could. Ground ball, left field base hit. Neagle views that hit with mixed emotions.
Boy, a big turn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He got to first base. Looked like he might go for 2, but Pat Corrales had to throw a rope around him.
Well, if it can get him around the bases with his flu, he can breathe on all their infielders. And
watch this. Watch this turn.
Is he going to try to stretch it?
Oh, boy. He had an idea.
And it was a good one. He didn't try to stretch it. Here's Walt Weiss. He is struck out and lined hard to shortstop. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Weiss, Lockhart, Chipper Jones now with a chance to do some damage. Woodger wears one of those hockey mask. Things that Charlie O'Brien came up with. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Yeah, very streamlined, aerodynamic. I think it's just a preference thing, what feels good to each guy. That particular All-Star Masco, nice Montreal version.
Oui.
Eddie Perez says he sees real well out of the one that he has.
Weiss is going to bunt, takes downstairs. It's 2-1.
I think they said that he did go after
Did they?
Skip.
My mistake. I apologize. 1-2.
See if he punched at it a little bit.
Yeah, he did. A ball and 2 strikes. There's that slider down and in again. That's been a good pitch for him all night long. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I did a little Oklahoma math before the ball game. I know that scares you a little bit.
Yes, it does.
But I added up the Major League starts for the 3 starters for the Expos. Came to a total of 22, not counting tonight.
Up the middle. It's going to be a double play. Tough break. 6-3. I don't know if the pitcher, Batista, got a piece of that ball or not. Weiss again hit it hard.
Well, you don't see an out made very often when the ball goes right back between the pitcher's legs, do you? Look at this. That's usually a base hit, but the ball hit the pitching rubber, and it kicked it over to Grizzolanek, who turned it into an easy double play. Tough break for Weiss. Watch this ball change directions right there. 22 Major League starts for the Expos starters in this series. For the Braves starters, 1,083 Major League starts.
Boy.
A little difference in experience.
Keith Lockhart 0 for 2 tonight. Looks at a strike. It's 0-1.
I was talking to Bobby Cuellar, the pitching coach for the Expos, before the ball game. He was telling me these guys have all got good arms. And Batista throws hard. He's got a good slider.
He's been all over the place with the Pirates, with Montreal in the first place, and the Pirates and the Marlins. The Cubs briefly. Why would a guy with such good stuff bounce around so much? Hard to figure.
Yeah, it is. Struggled last year with the Cubs with 0-5, but Bobby, there's a good shot of Bobby Cuellar. Says that his slider, he said all of these guys are learning. First of all, they're having to learn how to pitch at the major league level, and then after they get that down, then they've got to learn how to win. He said, but it's tough duty at this level to do that.
1-2 the count. Two out, nobody aboard. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Lazy pop, short right field. Everybody chasing it. Guerrero on the run. It's foul. And the count stays 1-2. Boy, he can snap his wrist, can't he?
Lockhart. That's the thing, though, that's been the hardest for him to do of late. He said, you know, my right arm is fine, and that's the arm that I use to pull the bat through, the most important on the swing. He said, it's just my left hand isn't coming through like it was, and that's why I've been under a lot of pitches lately. Not last night. 4 hits last night, 3 doubles. He said he was most proud of the double he hit off the left-hander. He said, that's the first ball I've hit hard to left or left center in a long time.
Did he say whether or not surgery was in his future?
He did not, but I wouldn't bet against it. He said it's just a day-to-day thing where he's trying right now to build up all the muscles around the rotator cuff to make them stronger, try to take some of the pressure off.
Full count now. Chipper Jones would be next. 2 out in the 5th. Understand this is the smallest advance sale crowd of the year. 27,000 tickets sold for this game. The 3-2. Outside, he walked it. Montreal is averaging just over 10,000 people a game. The Braves just over 37,000 per game. That's only his second walk.
They tell me the weather has been pretty good in Montreal, though. They've taken the roof off, right? It will be off all season long at the Big O.
What a nightmare that's been since day one. Millions and millions of dollars have been fiddled away on that roof business. Chipper has singled and walked. He takes one downstairs. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, I would guess that it feels more like real baseball than having that orange tufted.
Careful.
Yeah.
Line drive down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair. Fair ball into the corner. Here comes Lockhart. He's around third. They're going to wave him. The ball is to Grizzleanic. No throw, and the Braves lead 3-0. Chipper drives in his 43rd run of the year, and Lockhart showed good speed getting around the bases. Looked like Perez had a little trouble with that ball in the corner.
When you come to a strange ballpark, sometimes you're a little more tentative about how you go after the ball in the corner if you're the outfielder. Chipper went with that ball nicely and painted it on the strike. And now Perez, even though I'm sure he took some balls down in the corner during infield practice, waited for it to come out. By that time, Lockhart, with 2 outs running on the play, made it easily.
It's been feast or famine for Galarraga tonight. A homer and a strikeout. 3-0 Braves. Look out, what did that hit? The bat, thank goodness, 0-1.
He pitched him inside and tough the last at bat when he struck him out before striking him out with a slider. I'm glad it hit the bat, too.
He fouled that off in self-defense. Runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
You and I were talking over on radio, Skip, about the constant calls you got early in the season about letting Fred McGriff go and acquiring Galarraga, but mostly about how this guy wouldn't hit outside of Coors Field. Well, last year through May, he had 14 homers. He's already got 18 this year.
That should end the inning. McGuire gets back to the base, and the inning is over, but the Braves pick up an insurance run on 2 hits and leave 1. At the end of 5, your score: Braves 3, Expos nothing.
Entertainment Weekly created the Showbiz
For the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Call 1-800-854-CLUB. Find out what you can do to keep clubs like these for kids on the map. Join the Goodwill Games and the Superstation. Take on the Super Challenge. It starts with 1 person, and you're it. Call 1-800-854-CLUB today. You've got to call this number to keep kids like us off the streets and out of trouble. Support your local Boys and Girls Club. Make the call. So we can keep playing.
Braves are on top 3-0 after 5. Time for the Budweiser game summary. Denny Neagle battling his way through a 6-hit shutout so far, even though he's not feeling 100% tonight. Andres Galarraga staked the Braves to a 2-run lead in the first with his 18th homer of the year, and Chipper Jones just delivered an RBI double to put the Braves up on top 3-0. That's your Budweiser game summary.
Thanks very much, Joe. And Vladimir Guerrero leads it off. A fine-looking young player, if he can stay healthy. Injuries have plagued him early on in his career. A strike over the outside corner. See, if Denny wins tonight, and he's leading in the 6th, it will be his 7th win of the year. High fly ball center field. Back goes Andrew. Fringe of the track, 1 out. Guerrero's 0 for 3. Here's Rondell White out of Gray, Georgia, where he lived on the same block with Willie Green of the Reds. Right now, the only pitchers with 7 wins in the National League are drive deep left. Back goes Gerald Williams. Does he have room? No, sir. That's gone. Line drive homer into the 2nd row at the 380-foot mark. They get that run back. Braves lead is 3-1. White hits number 6, drives in his 25th run of the year. I started to say Kevin Millwood, Tom Glavine, Jason Schmidt have 7 if Neagle gets there. There's a look at a low fastball.
Boy, he had a good pitch.
All 4 of the leaders in wins would be out of the Atlanta organization, with Maddox going for number 7 tomorrow. I thought that was a rather interesting point, but I picked up poor time.
Timing's
Talk
everything.
about it. Yes, it's right.
But it is a good point.
Thanks, Joe. The 0-1 pitch. Down, and, well, I guess it's a strike.
It could also be said that Denny, after giving up a lot of shots tonight, finally had one take off on him.
The 9th home run ball he's thrown this year. Woodger fouls it to the screen. This guy's done a good job for him. He's hit in 27 of his last 39 games.
Since Jim Beattie became the GM of the Expos, they've made some deals with Seattle, including the one that brought Robert Perez over here a couple of weeks ago.
And this guy's out of the Seattle
right
system.
He came over in the deal for Jeff Passero 2 years ago.
1-2 the count.
Denny gave up 7 homers in his first 5 starts, but that was just his second home run allowed since.
Foul tip back. 1-2 the count. Woodger with 5 homers, 17 RBI. Pop foul back, still 1-2. Baltimore hammering Seattle tonight, 8-1.
Mariners won big last night. I think it was 12-4, 12-5.
Boy, there's a lot of games like that in that league. Still 1-2. He's making Neagle work here in the 6th. No activity in the Atlanta bullpen, and that's not out of the ordinary, except that Neagle is a little sick.
And he's got that bump on the ankle, too. But that doesn't seem to be bothering him too much.
Change of pace strikes out Woodger. His 3rd strikeout of the game, the first one he's gotten other than the pitcher.
Great delivery on this changeup. Wrapped the ball in that circle change grip. And everything else looked like a fastball coming at him, and he was out front on it.
You know, we may do him, Neagle, a disservice a little bit because he's such a funny guy, and he really is. He makes funny noises, and he's got a great sense of humor. Pitch to Andrews is outside. 1 ball, no strikes. And all that's very true, but game day, boy, he comes to work.
It's not the class clown by any means
no,
in those
sir.
days.
Very intense. High pop on the infield. That should be easy. Andres Galarraga takes control in the inning. Is over, but the first run of the night is posted by Montreal. It comes on the 1-hit Rondell White's homer. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 3-1 Atlanta.
There are millions of reasons to fly today. Only one that matters to you. At Delta Airlines, it is our pleasure to get you to the place you want to be. Delta Airlines, on top of the world.
It's late, it's wet, and a flat tire puts you up against the wall. Wouldn't it be great if you could just drive to safety? Now you can with new Goodyear Aqua Steel Run Flat. Even with no air pressure, you can drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour to safety. Aqua Steel Run Flat. Only from Goodyear.
They're some of our favorite people. The millions of AutoZone customers who change their own oil. They're the kind of folks who believe that taking care of their car and saving money go hand in hand. And while we admire their willingness to tackle a dirty job, most of all, we thank them for bringing their used oil back to us. After all, used motor oil should be recycled, and that's one job we simply can't do alone.
We go to the bottom of the 6th. That's the Swan House, where absolutely none of the Atlanta Braves live. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Michael Tucker will lead it off.
Thought that was your house.
Oh, no. Tucker has grounded to first and flied to left. For a minute there, I thought we were on that real estate channel. But it turns out we're not. Tucker leads it off. 3-6-0 for the Braves, 1-7-0 for the Expos. Look out, had to skip the rope to get out of the way. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, sorry to see our old friend Jerome Walton got released by Tampa Bay. Line, look out, folks. I hope that was a railing that hit.
Or a chair.
1-1 the count.
Yeah, Jerome was activated from the disabled list today and promptly released. Michael's had a good month of May, hasn't he?
And he lines this one to left, but right at him. Perez has it, 1 down. Yes, he has. Here's Javi. He's had a quiet night, grounded out, struck out. Gerald Williams moves on deck. Our left-handed hitting outfielders Klesko and Curtis Pratt both injured, unable to play, as I'm sure Pete and Don told you earlier. Ryan's neck still bothering him, though it's better today, and Curtis' forearm all swollen up after that collision with Sandy Martinez last night. I don't think there'll be any aftertaste to that little set two.
I don't either.
0-2 the count. There's Curtis.
Curtis was a little upset that he was ejected because he felt like he was not the instigator.
Well, he wasn't. Right under his chin, 1-2. That's about 4 of them that have been up and in on Javi. You'd almost bet that slider's coming. Fastball up and in again, 2-2. Lopez takes a little walk around.
Kind of like that scene in Field of Dreams. Watch out for the one down and away, but don't forget about the one up in your ear either.
The 2-2 pitch. It's full now. 3-2. Everything's been up and in.
He walked 6 in his last outing, his last start against Houston. Only 2 walks tonight, but the last one hurt him. That 2-out walk to Lockhart, driven home by Chipper's double.
3-2, fouled away. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Bobby Cuellar made another good point to me, talking to him before the game. He said, you know, we're trying to teach these guys a lot of things at the major league level, and that's tough to do. He said, but I was looking forward to this series because they get a chance firsthand to see what it does take from veteran players to win and to move up to that next level, even at the major league level, to be a little better than the rest.
Well, there's nothing about Batista's performance that would make you do anything but smile if you're a Montreal fan. He has pitched a fine ball game.
I think they feel that way about all 3 of these guys we're going to see in this series. Javier Vasquez tomorrow, Carl Pavano, who was acquired in the deal that sent Pedro Martinez to the Red Sox.
I'd like to find out. First, the 3-2 pitch. Chopper to third. Andrews has it. Should be an easy play. And it is 2 down. What the latest is on their stadium out there. Up there, rather.
Talking about Michael Tucker's good month of May. How about the team as a whole? 19 wins so far with a few days to go.
Here's Gerald Williams. Oh, look out. Where did that hit? That hit Gerald Williams, and he's not too happy about it, especially after all the pitches up and into Galarraga and Javi. That's the second hit batsman of the year for Mr. Batista.
Yeah, there have been a bunch of them. Otherwise, I think Gerald would probably be going right on down to first. But that one was tailing in on him, too.
And Bobby Cuellar is on the way to the mound to talk to the young right-hander. Runner at first, 2 out. Jeff Porter tends to Williams. Boy, the injury bug is really biting here. Runner at first, 2 out for Andrew Jones. Steve Klein, a left-hander in the bullpen. Normally, you don't want left-handers facing Atlanta, but tonight, with all our left-handers hurt, that's fine.
Yeah, it really is. Klesko probably be able to play tomorrow. They're hoping so. Andrews on a good tear right now, has his average up over 250.
He's 1 out of 2 tonight. He's hit the ball hard both times. 3-1 our score. Atlanta leads. Throw to first. Gerald Williams scrambles back. That's better than he normally does because his control's been so much better tonight.
Yeah, it was a weird line he had against Houston. Got no decision. 5 innings, 4 hits, and 6 walks, and did not allow a run.
That's living the good life. Gerald edges away. That bluffs the start. Strike is called to Andrew. That might have deked Andrew, too.
Yeah, I think it did. And with 2 outs, he was smart to not swing if he thought he was going to go, to give him a chance to get into scoring position. That's a nice climb in 1 month's time from where he was.
Throw to first. Gerald back. He's an excellent base runner. He can really run this way.
The thing about Andrew's climb, I think, Skip, is what's so nice is that it hasn't been. Last night he had a 4-hit game for the first time this year and tied a career high, but it's been kind of a steady climb. 1 hit, 2 hits. Slowly but surely.
There's a drive lined into left center. Perez on the run. He's not going to get there. Up against the wall. Williams is around third. They're going to wave him. There'll be no throw, and the Braves lead it 4-1. Another 2-out hit off the bat of the red-hot Andrew Jones. So the hit batsman comes home to haunt him, just like the walk did an inning ago. Andrew drives in his 27th run.
Boy, he jumped all over this baseball slider that hung out over the plate a little bit, but Perez made a tactical error out in left field, too. He had the carom played correctly, but watch, he tries to barehand it and dropped it, and that made all the difference in the world in them having a chance to get Gerald at home plate.
Oddly enough, with the pitcher coming to the plate, manager Felipe Alou makes the Bell South call to the bullpen.
How are you, Truman? Vital signs are good.
He's looking, look out. Oh, wait. And enters the game for Montreal. He's 1-2 with 3.24 earned run average. This will be his 19th appearance, all in relief. The league is hitting .262 against him.
This guy came over from Cleveland last year when teams were picking up players near the trading deadline at the end of July. He was acquired from Cleveland for Jeff Juden, in fact, on July 31st. Last year spent some time with the big club in Cleveland, went 3-1 in 20 appearances, and then spent 26 appearances with the Expos and went 1-3.
Says here he's out of West Virginia State University. But then it says he was an Atlantic 10 Conference Player of the Year. Is there a West Virginia State, or is that just West Virginia?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I don't think I've ever heard of West Virginia State, which doesn't necessarily mean it's not there. At any event, he'll face Denny Neagle here with a runner at second and 2 out, and the Braves on top 4-1. Bautista went 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs to this point.
Clutch 2-out hitting tonight. All 4 runs for the Braves coming after 2 were out.
Bautista walked 2, struck out 4, hit 1, and threw a home run ball. Upstairs to Neagle. 1 ball, no strikes. Braves have won 20 of the last 25 games between these two teams. Swung and missed. It's 1-1.
Made a couple of mistakes. You saw a shot of Bautista. A couple of mistakes when he got 2 outs in an inning. Couldn't get out of trouble though.
Ground ball to second, should end the inning. Santangelo to first. And the Braves are retired, but not before they get a run on a hit and leave 1, and the end to 6. The Braves lead it 4-1.
Come on now, open up your front foot a little bit.
Each baseball on the Superstation is brought to you by the 68,000 professionals at Delta Airlines, who proudly put you on top of the world. And by Phillips Magnavox. Let's make things better.
We go to the 7th inning here. Denny Neagle pitches on. He's got a 4-1 lead. The hits are even at 7. Neither team has committed an error. Same 2 teams tomorrow. Javier Vasquez against Greg Maddux, and then Carl Pavano against Dennis Martinez.
Saw that sign there from some folks in Nashville. Now they're going to get a hockey team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Atlanta.
Yeah, an old friend of mine, David Poyle, is going to be the general manager.
They're going to be the Predators. Do they start this next hockey season?
I don't know.
Glenn
They do?
Hockey Man Diamond just told me yesterday.
Yeah, they do. Robert Perez leads it off. He has a hit tonight. Check swing. He went around 0-1.
You know, up in the Northeastern Colonial Regional Hockey League, Glenn was known as Glenn the Slasher Diamond.
Yeah. Everybody's meal money. 0-1 the count. Oh, 2 now. Montreal used to just beat on us like a drum. They still lead the overall series against Atlanta. But 20 out of 25 is pretty good. Into right, but Tucker is on the move. He's a good outfielder.
3 times Perez has hit the ball that way, and Michael has caught the last 2. He played him a little shallower the last couple of times.
We'll have our Delta scoreboard for you here in not too long, and then we'll find out how the Mets are doing in their game tonight. Ryan McGuire is the batter. One ball, no strikes. And a familiar figure moves on deck for Montreal. Mike Mordecai. There's Morty. He's having a tough time of it. Just 4 out of 49. 2 balls and a strike. That means yet another pitcher will come onto the game. High pop, third base side. Chipper coming over. He's going to run out of room. Mark Valdez is now in their bullpen. Between innings, the guys and crew were showing the sellout crowd out in the chop house. I wonder if any folks have met and married since the chop house opened last year. What do you think, Joe? Ground ball to first. Galarraga hits the bag, but pops right up for him. Thank you. 2 out.
Well, that'd be an interesting fact.
I don't know if it's a fact. I
think it'd be interesting to know if somebody just casually met out there and found out the one they were supposed to be with for the rest of their life. That'd be kind of neat. Or have children, name their firstborn Louis, like Louisville.
Here's Morty, the pitch. First pitch swinging, pops it foul back, 0-1. He is really struggling.
Morty got a good hand.
Two out, nobody aboard. Well, you could see tonight there's some great-looking gals and some good-looking guys out there. So. Chase one up in his eyes, 1-2. Another reason to come to the ballpark. Okay, let's get this inning over with. 1-2, the count.
Did they have some blind date nights or singles nights or something before?
That was my idea.
Was that you?
Yeah.
That didn't last long, did it?
Well, we tried it one night. We had 77 guys, most of whom were wearing slide rules, and 2 girls. And the girls didn't look like these girls. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2 now.
Morty had 81 at bats, or excuse me, 81 at bats last year for the Braves. Hit 173. 3 RBIs.
Change of pace gets him, and the inning is over, and his problems continue. Neagle's 4th strikeout. He's showing you a little intestinal fortitude tonight. We go to the bottom of the 7th, 4-1 Atlanta.
We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Time to take a look at what's on deck. Brought to you by Olympic Stain. The Expos have 2 more games remaining here to close out this homestand. We'll have the game for you on Thursday. That'll be Dennis Martinez against Carl Pavano. And then the Braves head out on the road. Play 3 games at Chicago. We will not have any of those games from Wrigley Field for you, but back on the air on Monday as that road trip continues at Milwaukee. And that's going to be a lot of fun as the Braves return to Milwaukee to take on the Brewers. And we'll have the first 2 games of that series for you.
Top of the order for Atlanta here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Mark Valdez, the new pitcher for Montreal. Big, hard-throwing right-hander. Low and inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Valdez, the 3rd pitcher of the night, but Batista, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, a hit batsman and a homer. Steve Klein, 1/3 of an inning, all zeros. Outside, Weiss, 2-0. Three balls, no strikes. Braves bid to break it open here. Valdez, 6 feet, 185-pounder out of Tampa. We're actually born in Dayton, but lives in Tampa now. Right through there.
Walt's hit 23 career homers. 1 came off of Valdez.
He came up in the Florida organization. And he walks the leadoff man in the 7th. He attended the University of Florida for 3 years. Didn't you tell me Florida was seeded #1 in the...
Yeah. College World Series?
Keith Lockhart is the batter. He has walked, scored a run. He's 0 for 2. Throw to first. Weiss back. Tom Glavine is off to one of the best starts of any pitcher in baseball. Read the June issue of Chop Talk to find out about it, the mental approach to pitching that he employs. 1-800-700-CHOP. You can subscribe to the Braves monthly magazine. Lockhart hits it out of play. 1-800-700-CHOP.
Thought it was interesting that they lumped all 3 Southeastern Conference teams in the same bracket in the College World Series. They didn't want an all Southeastern Conference final again this year. Call it coincidence or whatever you like.
I don't think I could call that coincidence.
Florida, LSU, and Mississippi State.
June 2nd and 3rd, the draft, speaking of college players, will be held.
Great time of year. College World Series, the draft coming up.
A lot of work for farm directors and scouts. Fly ball into left center field. On the run comes the left fielder. He can't make the catch. And Weiss is easily into second. Perez gave it all he had, but it wasn't enough. Keith didn't exactly overpower that ball, but he got himself a hit.
It ain't how you hit it, it's where.
Willie Keeler said that.
I believe it, something like that, yeah. And just a little dunker, but it's in there for a hit. Not only is the Division I World Series about to start, but the Division II World Series already underway, and Kennesaw State from here in Metro Atlanta, the #1 ranked team and the top seed. They won their first game.
Oh, what a beautiful campus they have.
It's getting better all the time.
Chipper, another perfect night. 2 out of 2 with a walk. Takes low. 1 ball, no strikes. Braves bid to break it open here in the 7th. They already lead 4-1. Valdez looks in. Oh, again, 2-0. Valdez having an awful time of it. He's 0-3 with a 7.36 earned run average. The league hitting .283 against him. 29 innings, 32 hits, 24 runs, 4 homers, 17 walks, and 20 strikeouts.
Your next to the last comment was the one that's getting him in the most trouble. 17 walks. He's behind the count too much.
There's a strike over the inside corner.
And I don't care how hard you throw, if you're constantly pitching 2-0, 3-1, you're going to get hurt.
They've been pitching Chipper away, and he singled and doubled to left, so now they came in on him for a strike. 2-1 the count. Oh, and inside. 3 balls and a strike. Anthony Telford, a former Brave farmhand, begins to work in their bullpen. The 3-1 pitch. Hitter's pitch here. It's low. He walked in there loaded with nobody out. Montreal's earned run average is 4.50 coming into this game. Their opponents 2.80. That's why they're 18-31. Here's Galarraga.
Boy, Santangelo delivered a brief but to the point message to Valdez. They've got one of the better arms in the baseball down in the bullpen as their closer, and Ugueth Urbina, who has 35 strikeouts in 25 innings. They just can't get to him.
Breaking ball just missed. Now you don't get the pitches that you might get if you're throwing strikes.
No, and was hoping that Galarraga would help him out and chase that first pitch.
You can see bases loaded situations don't bother Mr. Galarraga much. He has a 2-run homer to his credit tonight. 2-0. A walk means a run. Michael Tucker is on deck. You see a runner at every base. Weiss, Lockhart, Chipper. Pop foul back and out of play. Had a good cut on a 2-0 pitch, but could do nothing with it. That's amazing. It really is, and I don't have an explanation for it.
Blame it on El Nino.
Yeah, could be. The 2-1 pitch. chased a bad ball, and he knows it 2-2. He's trying to whack himself on the helmet.
Yeah. You just hate that as a hitter when you're not able to get your bat out of the way in time.
Because 3-1, you've got him in dire straits. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Andrus playing with a slight groin pull, a strain, I should say.
They got him to chase a slider down and away last time up. They're going to come inside again, though.
Boy, that just missed. 3-2.
Man, again, you're talking about a guy who is having trouble. He's been all over the place. He didn't get the close call there. Take another look. This is a tailing fastball that just missed, and you've seen Braves pitchers get that call, but it's because they live on that corner.
The 3-2. Swung, a fly ball into short center field. Everybody chasing it. It is going to drop. Let's see if they can get a force play. Nobody's at the bag, and a run is in. If Grizzolanik's at second base, they might have gotten a force out there.
Yep.
It's a pop fly hit, and it's 5-1, and the bases are still loaded, and there's still nobody out.
Grizzolanik was lined up as if there might be a throw to third, but in this situation, when you see the ball might be caught, and you can see Grizzolanik in your picture there to the left of the screen, you got to go to the bag. Rondell White came up throwing, but Grizzolanik was late covering, and as a result, White couldn't cut it loose like he might had there been somebody camped there.
Chipper had to wait, fearful the ball would be caught, of course. Well, here's Michael Tucker. 5-1 Atlanta.
That's an instinct thing. You've got to read that and recognize it.
High and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. He hasn't thrown a strike on the first pitch to any hitter, I don't think. And nobody's more aware of it than he is. The 1-0. Swung and missed. Good live fastball. The final now. Baltimore beat Seattle 8-3. All the scores coming your way on the Delta scoreboard as we go to the top of the 8th. The 1-1. Just missed inside. 2 balls and a strike.
He's not getting any breaks, is he?
No.
A blooper by Lockhart, a blooper by Galarraga, and the close call is not going his way.
Yeah, the ball hasn't been hit hard yet in the inning. Two and two. 1 hit here, and this baby is just about history. Lockhart at third, Chipper at second, Andrus at first. The 2-2 pitch. Oh, another 3-2 count.
You know, I would think, Skip, that these long innings have helped Denny Neagle tonight. The Braves have only gone in order 1 inning, and that was the 4th. But he's been able to, if he is still feeling bad, been able to recoup every time the Braves have come to the plate.
The 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Fastball over the inside corner. Michael argues about it. But frankly, from here, it looked like a pretty good pitch.
It looked like one of those too close to take. The Braves are a little short-handed in the outfield, too. That was too close to take. Sorry, Michael. It had some movement on it, but he got the benefit of the doubt that time from Jerry Meals.
Javi Lopez, the batter.
Braves can't afford Michael to get thrown out.
They don't have anybody to play.
No, so they've got to get him cooled down.
Here's Javi, 0 for 3. Infield back, of course, hopeful of a double play to get out of this bases loaded, now 1-out situation. Started to go. No swing. 2-0. So again, Valdez is asking for trouble. That is 27 pitches in this inning. A walk means a run here. 3-0. Think Bobby will roll the dice here?
He can throw hard. There's no question about that. He just is throwing, though. He's not pitching much. Made a good pitch on Tucker, not taking anything away there, but yeah, he might turn him loose. They've got a 4-run lead already.
They did. But a ground ball as a result, and that is not exactly what the Braves had in mind on that pitch. They went for the knockout right there. 28,662 paid tonight. The 3-1 to Lopez. There's a drive left center field. Did he get enough? Yes. You can't pitch behind all night long. That breaks it open big time. Home run number 12. 40 RBIs for Javi.
It looked like on the 3-0 pitch, Skip, that he was trying too hard and opened up a little too fast on it. Didn't wait for the ball to come to him. He certainly waited this time. Fastball down and away. Another good pitch. Very similar to the one that Rondell White hit out. And in a similar spot.
Gerald Williams fouls one down the third base line. 9-1 Atlanta. And there's still only one out here. 5 runs are home. Squibber to first. McGuire will step on the bag, and plenty of time for the second out. And here's Andrew Jones, who is 2 out of 3 again with an RBI. Well, let's see. Chipper now, he's driven in a run tonight, has 43. Galarraga has 47. Lopez has 40. Point is, a lot of guys are maybe headed toward 100 RBI season.
Bobby's second career grand slam and the second for the Braves this year. Chipper had the other one.
Pitch to Andrew. Swung, hot shot, base hit. Off the glove of the third baseman.
4 hits last night, 3 hits tonight for Andrew. And the game before that, 2 walks and a strikeout. So he's on a pretty good stretch right now and closing in on the 260 mark.
What do you call that soda pop he drinks?
Big Red. He's been out of it. He's been nursing what he's got left. He can't find any. My gas station quit carrying it.
Is that because it's a gas station?
I don't know. No convenience store?
Yeah, I understand.
No. And I didn't get it.
I know. Inning is over. Neagle wisely hits into a force play, but the Braves score 5 times on 4 hits and leave 1. At the end of 7, Braves lead it 9-1.
People smile and tell me I'm gonna be alright.
Aflac, insuring over.
The scoreboard, San Francisco beat Cincinnati 5-2. Johnson and Miller had home runs for the Giants. New York over Florida 10-6. They go to the top of the 9th there. Jackson has a home run in that ball game. Houston clobbering L.A. They got 8 in the 5th and lead it 10-2. Mondesi has a home run for the Dodgers. Pittsburgh leading Milwaukee. And San Diego to Arizona a little bit later. Tampa Bay over Oakland 7-2. McCracken, Sorrento, and Cairo homers there. Baltimore beat Seattle 8-3, as we told you. Joe Carter with a home run. Toronto over Boston 5-2. Cleveland leading Detroit 9-1 as they go to the top half of the 8th inning. Fryman with another homer. And New York at Chicago tied at 2 now in the 5th. Robin Ventura has homered for the White Sox. For all the latest news and notes, the box score, and all the stats from tonight's game, click on CNNS. Why can't I get through that? CNNSI.com, the ultimate address for sports.
You finished?
I think.
Mike Cather is on to pitch, and Ozzie Guillen, of all people, is at first base for Atlanta. And F.B. Santangelo leads off the 8th inning. Cather needs a good outing. He has been struggling. Guillen has never played first base before. He has, however, been in the outfield a couple of times. Well hit into left center field. Gerald Williams on the run. Not going to get there. It's up against the wall. And F.B. Santangelo pulls into second with a double. Cather's troubles continue. Last night, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, and a walk.
Yeah, and then I think as customary with Bobby Cox, he wants to get him back out there right away to try to get that bad taste out of his mouth, but it didn't start off so well tonight. And now a pinch runner for Santangelo.
That would be Jose Vidro. Santangelo has been all banged up. He and Rondell White collided 6 games ago, and this is the first time that he has been back in the fold. Vidro, a switch hitter, will run and stay in the game to play second base. Mark Rizalanek is the batter. He has been struggling inside. 1 ball, no strikes. He's 0 for 3 tonight. He is 6 for his last 34. I don't know what the problem is here. Jerry Meals looked like he was asking for help, but now we're ready to go. Hot shot. Good play by Chipper. Looks the runner back. Throws him out. 1 down. Vladimir Guerrero, the batter.
Maybe that'll get Cather going in the right direction. You mentioned the rough outing yesterday. 2 outings ago, he worked an inning against the Cubs. He gave up a home run to Manny Alexander, so he's looking for a good one tonight.
Guerrero stands in there. 9-1 Atlanta. Ground ball foul past third. Same 2 teams tomorrow night. That'll be on Sports South with Ernie Johnson and Bob Rathman and the Braves far-flung radio network.
Joe and Pete will have that one for you. Skip with yet another day off.
Don't even start. After what they're doing to me on this road trip day after day after day, the pressure keeps building.
He may be the new El Caballo.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Just give me the ball. The 1-1. 1 and 2. Line drive down the left field line, up against the wall. A run is in, and Guerrero has a double, and Mike still struggling.
He was having trouble getting the ball down yesterday when he got touched up. And that was not all that bad a pitch, but the breaking ball from Mike is kind of a sweeper. It's not a sharp breaking ball, and he needs to start it more at the middle plate and have it break away from the right-handed hitters. And right now it's catching way too much of the plate.
Rondell White, the batter. He's 2 out of 3, a home run included. Guerrero's 24th run driven in. 1 ball, no strikes.
You never can overestimate the value of a good bullpen. And just thinking about the Braves' 7th inning when they got 4 on the grand slam. Without that, if Valdez had been able to close the door, the Expos would be right in this.
Another ball hit hard to third. 2nd out. Kerry Leitenberg is in the Atlanta bullpen, by the way. And Chris Woodger is the batter. He's 1 out of 3. Tomorrow, Javier Vazquez against Greg Maddux, and Carl Pavano against Dennis Martinez, a former Montreal performer.
Vazquez is 1-5 with an ERA of 6.92. And that was a good spot. Ball one, but it was a good spot. Started at the middle of the plate and broke off of it.
Woodger has hit in 27 of his last 39 games. There's the strike over the inside corner, but up a little bit. You really root for a guy like Cather. He's such a nice fellow.
Yep.
By the way, that kid Mark Wilkins with the Pirates, who was in that fight with his teammate Jeff Tabaka, did you read his quotes today?
No, I didn't.
Boy, he showed me a lot. Absolutely no excuse. I feel horrible about it. He's one of my dearest friends. The minute after it happened, we put our arms around one another, went to the hospital with him. Strikeout of Woodger. In other words, he owned up like a man, and I admire him for it. A run on 2 hits, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 8th with your score. Braves 9, Expos 2.
Hey, not a chance.
Come on.
No, I'll carry your clubs.
Don't care. They're heavy.
You're desperate.
1,500 athletes start July 19th right here on the Superstation. Make your plans to be with us.
Hi, kids. Hope you're enjoying the game. If you're Braves fans, you certainly are. Duran Stovall has checked into the game to play center field. Jose Vidro stays in the game to play second base, and Anthony Telford is on to pitch. Telford, former Braves farmhand, is 2-2, but with a high earned run average, 5.67. The league hitting .270 against him. 27 innings, 27 hits, 6 homers, 8 walks, 13 strikeouts. He's the 4th pitcher of the night. He'll face the top of the Atlanta order. Stovall will bat 9th in the order for Montreal. And Telford ready to go to work. Weiss tonight is 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. He's hit the ball hard a couple of times, but has nothing to show for it. Breaking ball, bounced foul. Down the first base line.
Saw Ryan McGuire pick up that foul ball. Funny story about him when he got called up last year.
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Expos AAA team is in Ottawa, not too far away. And it's kind of like it ought to be when you get called up. You want to get there as quick as you can. However, he was pulled over speeding at 123 miles an hour on the way to Montreal.
Weiss doesn't get it. 1 away. Yeah, we were talking on radio. When you get sent the other way, you get arrested for driving too slowly on the highway. Here's Keith Lockhart.
You think you've planned the whole night out. You got everything lined out, got your lineup made, done your homework for the ball game. You get right up to the point of truth. I mean, we're in the bottom of the 8th inning, and you don't have a writing instrument, do you?
My ZZ pencil quit on it.
Well, obviously, you're just not a 9-inning pencil guy. You need some relief help.
Oh, shut up. 1-2 the count. Good pitch.
Good changeup.
2 down.
Anthony Telford never got a chance to pitch in a Braves uniform, but he's thinking about what it might be like and showing Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni that he had some possibility, too. That was a breaking ball.
2 out, nobody on. Chipper, a perfect night. Takes a strike over the outside corner.
We have not seen Mike Maddox tonight.
Greg's
brother, but with Greg pitching tomorrow, that might be something interesting if he makes it into the game for the Expos out of the bullpen.
I wonder if he's as demented as Greg is.
I wouldn't doubt it.
0-2 the count. Mark Wohlers is limbering up now for Atlanta. Chipper lays off. It's 1-2. 9-2 Atlanta, our score. There's Mike Maddox.
The older brother.
2-2. The good-looking brother, huh?
Yes, most definitely.
I wonder who's charting pitches. You think he's in the clubhouse, perhaps?
I don't know.
The 2-2. Just missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
He's also, Mike's certainly the more physical.
Chipper's still perfect. That's his 3rd walk of the night.
He walked twice last night. That helps the old on-base percentage.
Ozzie Guillen batting cleanup. That'll be a thrill for him. That hasn't happened often in his career. Here, Joe, fix my pen.
I've offered you the use of mine.
No, I got one of those clicksters back.
Yeah. You know what you do with this? It was a very simple remedy.
Throw it away? That's what I was afraid you were going to do. An expensive pencil.
Chipper, meanwhile, you mentioned the walks, and dating back to last night, he's been on base 7 straight appearances.
Ozzie hits one right off the Atlanta Journal-Constitution sign. That was not an editorial comment. It's 0-1.
Boy, what a great job he did filling in, huh?
Oh, outstanding.
Those numbers.
Ground ball to first. Booted by McGuire. He recovers and cannot make a play. Guillen and Telford get hung up over there, but everybody's all right. See how they score that little darling. Probably a boot.
Terry Tata immediately called him safe, even though a play hadn't been made, and I don't think Guillen had touched the base. We'll have to watch and see. Yeah, he missed it, but Telford basically screened him off the bag, and you can't do that, and that's why Tata called him safe. Watch the play at first. No place for Ozzie to go, and you can see Terry Tata right on top of it, claiming the interference.
Tucker lines one foul down the right field line. Michael 0 for 4 tonight.
It'll be scored an error on the first baseman.
Right you are, Joe Simpson. You're all over it tonight, buddy.
Need my pencil?
No, I'm using Lou Frews. 0-1 the count. Well, that's a heartbreaker. 0-2.
Trying to keep the ball in on Michael's hands here in the late going. Struck him out with a fastball inside with the bases loaded.
Look out. A ball and 2 strikes. White Sox and Yankees 2-2 in the 6th. The Mets won their game, and Vidro fields this one, and the inning is over. So the Braves threaten but fail to score. No hits, no runs, an error, 2 left. At the end of 8 complete, your score. Braves 9, Expos 2.
Sunday night. 9
Sunday night, only on the Superstation.
We go to the ninth. Braves on top 9-2, and you'll want to stay with us here on TBS as Elijah Wood stars as the ultimate pint-sized troublemaker in the adventures of Huck Finn, coming up at 10:35 right here on the Superstation.
Okay, Joe, Mark Wohlers comes in to pitch, and Tony Graffinino's at second base as we go to the ninth inning. Braves on top 9-2. Shane Andrews will lead off the ninth inning, then Robert Perez, then Ryan McGuire. And if anybody gets on, Duran Stovall will hit.
Mark returned to the active list with an outing yesterday, worked an inning against the Cubs, walked a couple of batters, but sandwiched in between the walks were 2 strikeouts. He got Blauser and a pinch hitter and was able to get out of the inning with a ground ball. So he got off to a rough start, but also settled down a little bit and looked like a little bit like the Mark Wohlers of old. So it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back tonight.
And this is, again, I know Bobby and Leo are very happy about this, giving Wohlers another chance to pitch without the game riding on every pitch. Get him back into the groove, and he'll be ready to go.
A nice luxury to have, thanks to another big outing from the offense.
Boy, there's a lot of talk about who the player of the game should be tonight. Big argument in the truck between Gary Lehman and what's his name? Galarraga, another
Slasher.
homer, three RBIs. Neagle, 7 brilliant innings of pitching. Swung and missed, 0-2. Chipper, another perfect night.
Greg Maddux, 9 perfect innings of charting.
Yeah, that's 2. Javi was only 1 for 4 tonight, but he did hit a grand slam. It's going to be a tough decision. Ooh. That decision will be made as soon as Glenn Diamond gets off the phone. Yeah, we were right. Greg's watching. Nice to have you with us, buddy. 2-2 the count. Three balls, 2 strikes.
I ask you, who's the more physical specimen? I don't think there's even an argument or a close second, do you? Mike's the guy. Better looking.
Here you go again. 3-2 pitch. Well hit. That's going to leave the yard. It's 9-3. Well, as long as it's going to happen, it might as well happen on a 9-2 game. For Andrews, his 10th homer, he now leads their team.
Well, get some kinks worked out, and that's what Wohlers is doing right now. Again, the luxury of having a big lead and getting some work in. Andrews is a good fastball hitter, and he shows you right here that he can handle just about any of them. Belt high and belted.
So it's a 9-3 game. And Perez lines one down the left field line. That's an easy double, and there's still nobody out here in the ninth.
And that pitch was up.
Ryan McGuire will be the batter.
A belt-high fastball, but honestly, I don't know how many pitches they want him to throw tonight, but honestly, it doesn't matter. Still got a 6-run lead. Let him work through it. Be ready to actually be sharper and be ready to pitch when it really means something.
But in case a couple more hits come along, Kerry Leitenberg's getting cranked up. Right in there, 0-1. Still nobody out here in the ninth. 22 hits in the game. The teams have 11 each. That's in there. Got it up a little bit, but called strike to McGuire. It's 0-2. Durand Stovall will be next. Got it. Here's Stovall.
It's the third strikeout in 2 days, and a good split finger pitch. Nasty. Down and away. He has to be pleased with that.
Durand Stovall started in the Cardinal organization. He's out of East St. Louis, Illinois. 25 years old. He's a switch-hitting outfielder. Last year, hit .284 at Harrisburg, .243 in AAA at Ottawa. Downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. Hit .282 in the Arizona Fall League. That impressed the Expos in a good spring, and here he is on the big club.
It's one of those things, the Fall League down there, where even if you have a somewhat mediocre season, there are so many scouts and so many club officials who go down there to watch these guys play that you have a few good weeks down there, it can make the difference for you and help you turn the corner in terms of making a club in spring training.
Turn a bad year into a pretty good one. Throw him a strike, Mark. No, so you know. Ball 4. So a tough inning here for Wohlers. Jose Vidro is the batter. He bats for the first time in the game. He entered defensively for San Angelo an inning ago. Vidro hitting 150 right-handed, 150 left-handed. That doesn't add up to 300. That adds up to 150. And he pops this one up. Infield fly rule may be in effect. It is. Though the ball is caught by the left fielder. And that's not a bad call by the umpires. Any ball that, in their opinion, can easily be caught by an infielder is when you call the infield fly. If an outfielder catches it, so what?
Doesn't matter who catches it, it's to protect the base runners.
So 2 out, and here's Mark Grizzolanek. Runners at first and second. It's a 9-3 ball game. Grizzolanek just 6 of his last 35. Started to go, stopped, 1 ball, no strikes. Braves about to go to 38-14.
Home record is what's doing the trip, too. They're just wiping people out in these homestands.
Pop into short right. That'll do it. Michael Tucker is there. And the ball game is over. A run on 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. The Braves breeze past the Expos by a final score of 9-3.
And I know you'll be pleased to know that our AutoZone player of the game is Javi Lopez for his 2nd career grand slam and 4 RBIs on the night. He now has 12 on the year and 40 ribbies. And here's a look at it. It put the game away in the 7th inning. Came off Mark Valdez to the front row. Congratulations to Javi Lopez, our AutoZone player of the game. We'll be back to Turner Field right after this.
on the Superstation is brought to you by Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. By your local AutoZone stores. For the right parts at the right price, look no further than AutoZone. And by the Kodak Advantage System, a special kind of film, a different kind of camera, a better way to take pictures further.
Well, the Braves just keep rolling along here at home as they go to 6-1 on this homestand, 15-3 over the last two homestands, and improved to 38-14 overall. Denny Neagle now 15-1 here at home as he picks up his 7th win of the year. Miguel Batista, the loser, 28,662 here tonight. The game took 2 hours and 44 minutes.
And for all the news and notes from around the diamond, click on CNNSI.com. The ultimate address for sports. Braves play here tomorrow. Greg Maddux will pitch. That'll be on Sports South and the Braves radio network. And that, yeah, good. For Joe Simpson, Pete Van Weeren, Don Sutton, and our entire TBS crew, Skip Carey from the ballpark. So long, everybody.
The preceding has been a presentation of Turner Sports.
Brunson, whom the Blazers fined